In this video, I'm going to be talking about 3 common mistakes that I frequently see in the discussion section of a scientific paper. Hi guys, this is Brian from the Grants and Publications YouTube channel. Now, the discussion part of a scientific paper is really one of the most important parts of the scientific paper, maybe the most important part, because this is where you tell the readers how your new knowledge that you generated in your paper fits into the context of what's already known, and how it's going to help them with their research, why your work is significant. And so it's really where you tie everything together, all of the results, the methods, and the research question. It's all tied together here in the discussion section. You got to make sure that you do a good job and try not to make some of the common mistakes that I frequently see. The first mistake I would like to talk about is starting the discussion section with a second introduction. And you would be surprised how much or how frequently I see this. So if you go back into the papers that you read and look for it, you'll probably see this. And so what happens is the author probably just hasn't been trained in scientific writing, and they got to the discussion and they're thinking, like, what do I do now? And so they start reintroducing the topic. And I've actually done that before in my publications. So if you look through my old papers, you'll see I have made this mistake because I didn't know what to do. Other times it happens because the introduction was not set up properly. So basically, look at your first paragraph. What are you writing there? What you should be writing is the answer to the research question that you proposed in the introduction section. They should mirror each other. If you have material that you've already discussed in the introduction, take that out. If you have material that would be more appropriate in the introduction section, either move it there or take it out. Mistake number 2 that I see frequently is that there's too much speculation in the discussion section. So what do I mean by this? And you might be saying to me, well, aren't you supposed to, kind of speculate and think about how the phenomenon I've just described, how it works? Yeah, you are, but you're supposed to do that within the confines of the scope of your study. So when you're speculating, you're going beyond the scope of your study, and you're talking about things that are only slightly related or tangentially related. You're going off on a side direction. Or you might be talking about things that are just not relevant to the results of your study. So how do you recognize whether you're doing this in your discussion section? What I like to do is to look at each paragraph and verify that each paragraph is referring to one of the results. So either a figure or a table, or some other type of result. If there's nothing in that paragraph referring back to some specific results, then you should be taking that paragraph out or rewriting it so that you keep the focus on the results of your scientific paper. Before I get to the third tip, I would just like to say, if you're getting value from this video, please hit the thumbs up, smash that like button, and if you would like to see more videos on scientific writing topics, consider subscribing to the Grants and Publications YouTube channel. The third mistake that I see frequently, it happens a lot, but it's a pretty big mistake, and that is that the discussion is not reflecting the introduction. In other words, it's not circling back to answer the research question that was posed in the introduction section. When you don't circle back and close the loop, you're not meeting the expectations of your readers. And so they're going to feel like your study was incomplete, or they're going to feel disappointed because it didn't answer the questions that they had in their mind, it didn't meet their expectations. I would love to see your comments and questions in the comments section. If you have a question or a topic you would like me to discuss in a future video, leave it in the comments, and I'll see if I can work that in.